watching you bury Susie, and the same graveyard that's overfull, ain't got no space in it. He right there with you, watching you make a fool of yourself, putting your poor relative on top of your mommy. Listen, y'all got menage a trois and all kind of trois going on in the yellow ground graveyard because you ain't got no space to bury nobody. And he ain't come to help you one time because he don't care. They just only go there, cut the bush down because they want to pretend like they're doing something. Because leading up to it, they say, let's cut that bush down so the masters can think we're doing something for them. That's what they be saying. You think they really care about y'all? How you can come to my funeral? How you can come to my community, see me suffering, tell me how you concerned, and still watch me go bury my relative in the same place where there is no space. When you have big space on the other side, fully prepared, all it needs to do be fenced off and lined off and sawed off however you all need to sort it so that the people can bury their loved ones. How? How? Y'all better wake up. And then we got the situation with Bahama striping. Bahama striping is a disaster. What the government did. Bahama striping has a lot of moving parts and components. That's why it's called Bahama Striping Group of Companies. And they got a little boy in charge. And what they're doing is, they're selling him like he's the biggest, the best entrepreneur this side of the hemisphere. Well, he is not. He's a patsy for them people who pour money into the company so that they can steal it for themselves. That's what governments are doing. Pouring money into these companies so that they can steal the monies for themselves. That's what they're doing at Bahama Striping. However they fix it. You understand what I'm saying to you? And so Bahama Striping can't finish no project. They did Ramses Bight Road. They ain't finished that. As a matter of fact, there's a road in Ramses Bight where Bahama Striping paved one half and leave the other half unpaved. Incomplete. Ain't finished. I can tell because I just see it today. They start Waterford from last year, leading into Green Castle. And you know, normally when they're paving the roads, they would, as they dig it up, they would pave one half and fix the other half. Or scrape up the next half. However, they ain't doing that. They got the whole thing scraped up, and every time you go out there, they scrape up some more. Because they're saying, oh, we got shut up, we wicked, so let's go scrape up some more road. And they're scraping up the road like I don't know what. Got the road all dig up, yeah? Remember when Ingham was doing it? They said, the road damn dig up, hey. The road damn dig up, hey. Everywhere they digging, everywhere. Yes, but the Bahama Striping sure as hell doing a load of digging down here in between Waterford and Green Castle, and they've been digging that place from last year. This is now May. That same spot where you see them digging, they've been digging from last year. This is now May. I know who got the project in South Africa, he ain't never finished. Then they turn around and say they give one project out in Exuma. That ain't never finished. Then they over there in Exuma, that ain't finished. Then they go on and say they gained some project over in say allegedly owned by your PM and the sissy. Yeah. Then they say the project in Grand Bahama was a mistake because they didn't want to admit to you that they didn't give Bahama Striping over $400 million. Till Bahama Striping around here buying a house and land like I don't know what. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they can't get the work done. Clay showing you all something though. The track at the high school in Rock Sound practically didn't pave, but he can't fix the graveyard and the road can't complete. And he ain't worried about Green Castle. Because he know Green Castle is stupid enough to continue to vote for him no matter what. They brag about it. They say, oh, don't worry about that. Green Castle always got the PLP. Because it ain't me who think Green Castle ain't got no sense. It's the PLP who thinks Green Castle ain't got no sense. I don't want nobody to believe that's me. It's not me. I think that. The PLP think that. And they're talking too. You understand what I'm saying? So they know that no matter what they do, they're going to get the support of Green Castle. Guaranteed. They can leave this place, dig up, screw up, rake up, rig up, frig up. and Green Castle will get, and the PLP will get the support of Green Castle. But it is what it is. All I'm saying is, Roxanne, wake up. The track, then fix. It ain't finished, but then fix basically. Then pay it. Clay them just been down here having big celebration. They come to do their little housing project. That done sort out. But you've been waiting on your cemetery from Clay came to office. He done changed ministry and all, and you still can't get your cemetery. Y'all better wake up. That's all I can tell y'all. Now, let's move on, because I ain't gonna say on that. So, oatmeal is here. Not oatmeal. Oatmeal. His name is Oatmeal Reed. Not oatmeal. I say oatmeal. Oatmeal Reed is here. Oatmeal Reed is back. Oatmeal Reed. Oatmeal Reed is back. And Oatmeal Reed is giving out money. Oatmeal. He is giving out money. So Oatmeal is giving out money. You remember that sissy prophet who was in the bathtub the last time? And ladies, I don't know you're gonna be tonight, but I'm gonna be inside. And he was in all them bubbles. I'm gonna be inside the thing and I'm gonna be. Oh, so Island, he said he gone. So he gone back to Miami. But Oatmeal was here. Did anybody go to the church? So Oatmeal was here, giving out money to the students, giving out money to people on the side of the road. Must be trying to get them to attend. I don't know what happened. He must be here. The church, the war broke out in the church, and so he probably ran. But Oatmeal was here, giving out money on the side of the road and posing. And he got on the team and and listen to me. His wife is in a lesbian relationship. I don't know. Come on, man. Huh? Hold on. Oh, Jesus. Somebody, Brittany did a report my live on them. Jesus Christ. Then report my TikTok live. So, anyhow. But anyhow, so no, this is unclear. Okay, hold on. What is this? Oh, say when I'm saying my life is about frauds and scams. What's frauds and scams? So somebody report my life says about frauds and scams. These people can do foolish things. The notice is unclear. My live does not contain content mentioned in the notice. Submit. Oatmeal is here. So, well, was here. Oatmeal was here. Now, Oatmeal couldn't come at the worst possible time. Oatmeal came when God has set up persons like Brittany Harris and Omar Archer and a couple others to deal with the church. And, of course, TMI has been in on it because we've been sending the broadcast from our TikTok page. So whatever they do, we load up on our TikTok page and we send it out. All right. So let's see what it's saying. Okay. Blah blah blah. Appeal submitted. Blah blah blah. I'm trying to see what's going on. Okay. So anyhow, somebody report my TMI live on TikTok. So anyhow, these people are some suckers. Anyhow, so now I see a message from Prophetess. I saw a message from Prophetess Patrice Smith. And Prophetess Patrice Smith was the woman who spoke out against Oatmeal when he was here the last time. He had some things to say about her. He got on his pulpit and he used the pulpit to say some of the most awful, insulting, rude, incorrigible things that you could ever say about any woman, but then he's a man who don't like women. That's why I said he's in a relationship, because he's a woman involved with a woman. Because there's no way I can have words like that in that type of setting with that woman. But it was what it was. Now, I don't know, unless he was trying to fight Patrice like a man, because Patrice is a little big. Patrice looked like a boy. Anyhow, I stopped. But yeah. Yeah, so he decided he want challenged Patrice, and now he's back. And you know what's sad? That there are persons who were indulging him enough to give him the feeling that, yeah, he could come back. Why is he coming back? Huh? Why is he coming back? Why does he feel that he can be comfortable enough to come back here? Why would anybody make him feel, after the situation with Patrice Smith, I don't know why anybody would have thought that he would feel welcome, that he would be welcomed back here. I don't understand that. He's not welcomed here. He should not, you understand what I'm saying to you? He's not welcomed here at all. Okay? And so I don't understand why anybody would have felt that he could come here. And why anybody would think to invite him. And especially with all this heat coming on the church after all exposure that has happened. You understand? Why would Oatmeal think he can come here? Oatmeal, you ain't not welcome here. You ain't welcome here. Huh? You're not welcome here at all. You understand what I'm saying to you? You were out of order. And if people forgive you, I forgive you. And looking like how you look, I definitely ain't forgive you at all. But you need to get yourself together. Get your man appearance. Don't come here looking like no woman and think I come in the church behind you. And why? And you know what? Man going to church behind him. How you going to church behind this baby? How? How you going behind him? He looking like a halfway twisted, broke down prostitute, and you going behind him. Where you going? Why are you prostituting yourself behind him? Why? He looks 6. If you go in the dictionary and look under soft, there are 6 pictures of him. Where you going? What church you gonna lead? Who you leading? Who you preaching to? Who you prophesying to? Huh? God can't send you to me. Me and God got to talk. God, about that. I prefer you to leave me a message on the answer machine. That this nigga don't come nowhere around me. Hey, that's what it is. I don't hate sissies. I don't hate sissies. I'm not just. But it's no way. Oatmeal couldn't even offer me money. How Oatmeal, and that's what this grab a lot of people is, get this money. People offer them a couple of dollars, and next thing you know, they out there. Oatmeal have you bending down, laying down, doing all kind of things. And primming. Anyhow. Oh, Brittany Harris. And Omar Archer turn the church upside down. And when I say turn the church upside down, they turned the church upside down. And they dealt with the church thoroughly as it needed to be dealt with. Carol Moss is calling Brittany Harris, or Carol Moss is calling Brittany Harris a Jezebel. And Omar Archer was arrested. You understand? And they got arrested for exposing something that's been happening in the church long time. There's been this long-running gay scandal in the church that where men and boys are being taken over by church leaders, perverted church leaders. And nobody was doing anything about it until Brittany Harris and Omar Archer came along. Yes, somebody wrote a letter in 2019, but the thing is, that person who wrote that letter didn't write that letter with any attempt to really expose these fellas. They look like they're writing that letter for a little bit of power, because they didn't really address the situation. And in the time that letter was written, 6 years after the persons who were involved, Trent Davis and others, were allowed to continue to perpetrate whatever they were perpetrating against the church for over 6 years. So, this is a disaster. Brittany Harris and Omar Archer, like rock and stone from scripture, because the Bible speaks about them, have come forward and spoken up. And they exposed it. And now that they exposed it, there's been no word from the Christian Council. Has there been any word from the Christian Council, Brittany? Let me know. Because there's been no word from the Christian Council. There's been no word from any significant Christian leader. Huh? None. There's been no word from any government official about trying to address this. The only thing they have done is try to arrest the persons who have exposed the mess that is going on in the church. God tired. That's correct. There's been no effort to try to address this mess in the church. Because everybody indulged in it. Everybody encouraging this mess. So they make no effort to try to fix the situation where, okay, this is happening. We got to tell this whole church, sit down. This is happening. We got to speak up and say, no, this will not be tolerated. No, sir. Because all these got their own little bongi to their side, trying to hide themselves in their bongi business that they got going on. And Brittany them are tackling them systematically, one by one. Trent Davis, Mr. Major, Elton Major, Glendon Rule, and there'll be some more. Listen, they can continue to attack, they can continue to break it down. Meanwhile, the only person that has bothered to put her mouth into anything, to really say anything significant. Well, I remember one time, Quinty Smith. Smith. I think Karen says no more. Quinty says exposed the pastor because the pastor came to her church. He preached. And then that same night after he didn't preach, he had sex with one of the young men from the church. And the boy and the young man told Quinty says about it. And Quinty says was very upset. And the only thing Quinty says did not do was call his name. But she should have called his name when she exposed him. Anybody remember that? Quinty says did it because she thought he was somebody legitimate, and she found out that he was not when the young man broke down and told her how, yeah, pastor come and preach here at church, but I ring him out that same night after he didn't preach. He called me after he didn't minister and shout and jiggle and do. I ring him out that same night. Quinty says talked about it on one of our sermons. But you've had no one really saying anything significant or addressing these issues. You understand what I'm saying to you? They ain't put nothing out there. You don't hear anything about it. It only becomes significant now because Brittany has lent her voice to it. Omar has lent their voices to it. And the only thing that has happened is these sissy pastors can call the police because they can't even call God to help them. God ain't helping them because God knows what they're doing. Because if they really are people of God, the Bible says, why you? Dwight, the pastors did absolutely nothing. Nothing. They did absolutely nothing. Because if they have done something, please tell me what it is. Don't just say they did something and say I wrong. They ain't do nothing. If they do something, you tell me what it is. Put it on the screen. Tell me what it is. They ain't do nothing. None of them have given any significant word in relation to this. None of them. They are all a bunch of hypocrites. Slack. Good for nothing. Useless. And that's why God has to step outside the church to get people to expose what's going on inside the church. What a disgrace and a shame that God has to go outside the church, to use people outside the church to expose the evil and the wickedness and the sexual idolatry and the sin and the homosexuality that is going on inside the church. If the pastor did something, why God got to step outside the church? You tell me why. No, you lack knowledge. And if you lack knowledge, then you are a hypocrite and a disgrace. And you ought to repent. If the pastor did something, why God got to step outside the church? You read that letter. The young man talked about how he was goaded into having sex with this pastor to the point where he tried to commit suicide. He tried to commit suicide. He spoke to another pastor who talked him off the ledge of committing suicide. And that pastor still did not expose what was going on in the church. Carol Morse, who making all kind of noise. The young man said he spoke to her. And she talked to him and counseled him. But she still did not expose what's going on in the church. She is just a hypocrite. That person who wrote that letter is just as much as a hypocrite. And anybody else who supports him is a hypocrite just as much because they spoke nothing about it. Don't tell me. You're hypocrites. Godless hypocrites. Because if the pastors inside the church were exposing what's going on inside the church, God wouldn't have to go outside the church to get help to expose what's going on inside. Y'all are a bunch of hypocrites. The pastors are gutless, worthless, and useless, and who don't like it too bad. Y'all have facilitated the abuse, that continues to go on in the church. The sexual abuse, the sexual manipulation, the sexual disgrace, the sexual discussion. You have facilitated the destruction of young men in the church. You have facilitated the emasculation of young men in the church, encouraging them in sissyism and not speaking up about it. The pastors have done it. They have failed the church miserably, so much so that God had to go outside to expose what's going on inside. Now, who don't like that too bad? You're a bunch of God-dang hypocrites. And then you want to talk about, oh, touch my, not my anointed. Hold on. Let me take my time, because you see, Dwight didn't piss me off. But let's hold on. If Brittany Harris is Jezebel and Omar Archer is a jailbird, what is the preacher who is sleeping with young men and molesting kids and practicing homosexuality in the church? What do you call him? Are you still calling him anointed? Are you still calling him prophet? Are you still lifting him up? Then what does that say about you? Answer that for me. You mean to tell me that God got to go use a Jezebel and God got to go use a jailbird to expose the nastiness that is going on in the church? How you feel admitting that, Carol? How you feel admitting that, Dwight? You bunch of God-dang hypocrites. How you all feel admitting that? If God got to use Jezebel Brittany and Jailbird Omar to expose what's going on in the churches in the Bahamas with homosexuality and the emasculation of the young men, how do you feel? You are a disgrace and a shame. Go hide yourself under a rock. Go put on sackcloth and ashes. Go put some dust on your head and repent. You are a disgrace. See, because ain't nobody can tell. I can tell you how it is. I ain't looking for no friends. If I looking for friends, I wouldn't do this. I'm going to tell you how it is. And see, you always get annoyed when people try to speak up. Because y'all didn't speak up. How long are you going to sit there and license this sissy, destructive, emasculating criminal behavior? How long are you going to sit there and be a part of the defiling of the things of God? How long are you going to sit there and allow the church to be ruined? How long are you going to sit there and allow the young men and the children of the church to be taken advantage of? How long are you going to sit there and allow these so-called pastors and prophets to exploit the people of God? How long are you going to sit there and be a hypocrite? How long are you going to sit there and be a failure in the things of God? How long are you going to sit there and call the sins and the sinners anointed? How long are you going to sit there and allow them in their anointing to lay your young men down and put things in their behind? How long you can sit there? How long you can sit there and allow the church to exploit them? How long are you going to sit there? And as you collect tithes and offerings, and as you enjoy the comforts of the church, how long are you going to sit there and allow these men to dig out your children? How long are you going to sit there? How long are you going to sit there as these men are paid thousands of dollars in salary to make victims of your sons who are now committing suicide left, right, and center in this country? How long are you going to sit there? How long are you going to sit there as they continue to exploit the children? Listen to me. Listen to me. You are a failure, Dwight. The pastors of Golden Gates are failures. Because for 6 solid years, that letter was written in 2019, and for 6 solid years, this young man has been allowed to not only do what he was doing, but he's been able to take over the church, and he's been able to use the church to continue to carry out whatever he was perpetrating. And you said absolutely nothing. You are just as much a hypocrite. I have to wonder if you ain't one of them. I have to wonder. Because for 6 solid years, that was 2019. This is 2024. And maybe I can't count. Maybe 5 years. Let me see. 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, 6 years, eh? Hello? You are a hypocrite and a failure and a disgrace. Go sit down somewhere, go repent, go put on some sackcloth and ashes. You're a disgrace. When we sit down, I've been watching these videos and I've been watching some of the comments and I've been looking at some of the stuff that's been going on. People have even been sending me messages. I had a young person send me a message trying to tell me, oh, don't say nothing but this one and don't say nothing but that one. This don't say nothing but this preacher sissy and don't say nothing but that preacher sissy. But if this is where we are, what does this say about the average Bahamian home? And if this is where we are, can we ever say that our children are ever really safe? Can we say that? What can we say? What does this say about us and our homes? Can we feel comfortable sending our children to some of these homes, knowing that this is the mindset of some of the people who have the ability to have some semblance of control of our children? What does this say of our home if we are comfortable with pastors taking advantage and emasculating boys and young men in the church? What does this say of us as a people? What does it say of us? What does this say of us? Because see, some people didn't want to have this conversation, but I'm ready to have this conversation. You ready for this? Because I've been ready. Huh? What does this say of you as an individual? You dare to come on here and argue with me, knowing full well that 6 years ago you knew what was going on in Golden Gates, and still 6 years later you did not speak up about it, and you dare to tell me, oh, because of what you all did, it's because I could say you all are a bunch of hypocrites. You all are a disgrace. You all are a shame. You all need to go. And Golden Gates is a failure on the Christian community. Golden Gates, the church, listen. The only reason I won't say somebody should burn the church down is because somebody may burn the church down and the police can come looking for me. You hear what I'm saying to you? So I will never say that. But Golden Gates, if God could destroy it in an earthquake, he should. Because you all are a disgrace. You are a failure. You've messed up. You've screwed up, and you're not prepared to admit you're wrong as a church. You're not prepared to acknowledge you're wrong. Because this church so full of mess. Because the people say they find condoms in the church with mess in it. The church, the sanctity of the church has been destroyed. You're in a messy church. You're in a stooly church. That's why you talking mess. You can't help but talk stooly foolishness because you in a church where stooly foolishness was taking place. How you feel? Have some shame. Have some gall and some gumption. You failed. You had a platform to speak up and say what was happening, and you did not use that platform. And now you get on here talking backside. I am not the one. Go tell that to somebody else who will hear that. Golden Gates has failed the Christian community. It has failed the young people. It has failed the country. It has failed our nation. It has failed the Carmichael community. But it allowed this kind of thing to live on in infamy. And it allowed children to be unsafe. The video on my TikTok where pastor said he gone and meet Trent home with one of the choir boys. It read on my TikTok. Take his hand serious. Golden Gates failed. You talking foolishness? Cheapest y'all go do something else. Y'all don't deserve a better offering. The people need to stop giving y'all offering, and y'all need to suffer. Y'all need to repent. Y'all are a disgrace. Y'all only in there for the money. Y'all don't have no heart for the people. Y'all don't care if the children get destroyed. Y'all probably helping to exploit them. Y'all probably carting off some of these people children to the young man as long as it could bring y'all money. Disgraceful suckers. When God said judgment shall begin in the house of God, what was he talking about? What was he talking about? When God said judgment shall begin in the house of God, what was he talking about? When God said, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm, did he mean that the church should protect child molesters and the practice of homosexuality in the church? When God said, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm, was God saying that leave the prophets alone and protect the child molestation and protect the practice of homosexuality in the church? Is that what God was saying? Let me know. Let me know what God was saying, Dwight. Tell me what God was saying. We march in this country on everything else. So how we ain't marching against Golden Gates Church over this? And all the other churches that are involved. How are we not marching against them? Because this calls for a march. We need to have a march against child molestation in this country. We need to have a march against those people who are using the church as a cover to practice homosexuality and putting mess in their wife's vagina. And some of these wives are just as bad as their husbands because they're indulging these things. Some of these wives only marry these men for the money. You know, you hear the family say they pay the man to pay the man wife to stay to marry him again. She's a disgrace. Nothing but a spiritual, well, she even a spiritual prostitute. Nothing but a prostitute because she married for money. And people want to get mad. Let me say this to you. I don't know. We will march about everything, but we won't march about this. We will march about everything, but we won't march about this. But let me ask that question again. When God said, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm, did he mean that we should protect child molestation and protect the practice of homosexuality in the church? Is that what God meant? Because that's not what God meant. But you see, some people want us to believe that. They want us to believe that God wants you to protect a man who you know is taking advantage of the little boys and emasculating the men of the church, who is ruining their minds. We march about everything, but we don't march about this. I don't know that I agree with Brittany when she says boycott the churches. But I have to ask myself if I am complicit when I encourage people to go to church, knowing full well that there is a preacher waiting to sexually tear them from the front or tear them from behind. So I'm not saying Brittany's entirely right, but then I have to now wonder about my own self saying go to the church when what Brittany has exposed is very real and it's actually happening. You understand what I'm saying to you? I don't want to say boycott the churches because I believe that there are some genuine churches out there that are preaching the word of God and people are living right, and that the persons who are speaking about what is going on, persons who are preaching the truth of Jesus Christ, who are preaching Christ and Him crucified, who are preaching that the wages of sin is death, and who are living it. They ain't just preaching it; they are living it. But because of what we have going on, there is this call to boycott the churches. And this call is legitimate. And so the question I have to ask is, if I disagree with this call, am I complicit when I encourage people to go to church knowing full well that if I tell them to go to church, I'm sending them to a preacher who is waiting to tear them from in front or to tear them from behind? And that begs another question. What can the church do to return to a position of trust in the Bahamas? What can we do? How can we fix this situation? How can we fix this hot mess, this disaster? Because it is a hot mess and disaster. How can we fix it? You know, a family member, after I put out some of the stuff with Brittany and I had put out some of the videos of Brittany on my TikTok on Omar, and I had the talk with about it on my last show Saturday. This lady called me, and she told me how two very popular Bahamian bishops, one of them who has been mentioned on Brittany's show, two very popular Bahamian bishops, years ago molested two young brothers. The family member told me these two Bahamian bishops raped these two young brothers. She told me today one of those brothers is in jail in the U.S. He's imprisoned in the U.S. for life for kidnapping and child molestation. And when she gave me the names of the bishops, I was shocked. She gave me the names of the bishops. They're popular bishops. Everybody know that. One Brittany was talking about and the next one. Two leading bishops in the country. And so I said to the family member, I said, listen, it's not enough. I need you to have the brother who's in prison write a letter and send it to me. Because if he writes that letter and he ever sends that letter, I can read that letter on my show. Okay? But she said she made a commitment that she's going to work on trying to get him to write the letter. But two popular bishops. They were two young brothers. And she told me about them. She was telling me about these are her family relatives, and they handsome persons. You understand what I'm saying to you? And, yeah. Brittany said, give me the name and I'll let my investors pull the charges. Hold on. Somebody's calling me. Okay. This person, I know who this is calling me. I'm talk now. Yeah, but they told me that, when they told me that, I was in shock. They called the names. Yeah. I can get more information on it. I'm going to get more information on it, Brittany, and I'm going to send you the information. But two popular bishops, one you've been talking about, the same one who was supposed to appear on your show, him, and a next bishop, the next bishop from Pinewood. The next bishop from Pinewood. But anyhow, it is what it is. We can talk about it. Very good. And make sure I can go look up on that because I can keep up to date with your thing. Brittany. Anyhow, just know that when the person tell me that, I couldn't believe it. All right? No, that's why calling me. That's not why calling me. Anyhow. But I got that subject for now. Let's do this quickly. I'm almost done. It's 11:14. In the afternoon, we're hearing a bunch of stuff, right? We've been hearing a bunch of stuff. We're hearing that they've been actually promoting, saying that Hubert Ingham is trying to come back and take over. All right? I ain't playing, Brittany. I ain't gonna have to play. I can give it to you. I can give it to you as the information comes to me. The two names, the same names that you figured out, pretty much are those persons. But I need to get the name of the young man so that you can investigate to confirm that his case is actually real and that he's imprisoned in the U.S. And then that will take you further with where you're going. So definitely we can look into that. I will get the information to you, and that's my commitment. They tell me, I heard Hubert Ingham. They said Hubert Ingham is trying to take the party over from Michael Pintard. That's why they're having leadership problems, and that's why they're having a difficulty naming candidates. I don't know how true that is. That's the information that I heard. I heard William Hunt. Well, William Hunt is continuing to fight in South Eleuthera, fight for South Eleuthera. He is passionate in his efforts to bring real representation to this area, but he is fighting for the nomination against Philippa Kelly and a couple other persons, and so all of them are vying for this nomination. I got word that Ricky Mackey was supposed to be running in North Eleuthera, but somebody asked me today if somebody told me today that they heard that Aldred Albury may be taking over as the candidate for North Eleuthera instead of Ricky Mackey. They said that it is being rumored, allegedly, that Aldred Albury Ricky Mackey is working to have Aldred Albury replace him as the candidate for North Eleuthera. I don't know how true that is, but if that is what's happening, that will be interesting, and it will be quite a shock, but that's the information that I'm hearing. I don't know if that's true. All right? So let's just see what happens. Now, I don't know, and I'm getting ready to close. I don't know if you all remember when I preached, no, but I'd say preached, when I spoke on a message, I said, and the message was, he who laughs last. And that was in relation to COI. You remember when Lincoln Bain and Charlotte Green, those had gotten locked up outside the House of Assembly? And I did a message on that talking about he who laughs last. It's on my Facebook page somewhere. I'm going to find it and load it up on TikTok so that you guys can see it. And I got loaded up because apparently, Facebook is getting ready to delete all of the lives that were done previously. So if you ain't load up your live somewhere, Facebook can delete it. It is what it is. All right, so they were laughing, but they can't laugh no more because at least for the foreseeable future, COI is now legitimized because they now have a representative in the House of Assembly, Hiram Lewis. And not only is he there, but the other day, Hiram Lewis was sitting in the Speaker's chair. Okay? And so COI does have some stuff going on with them, and I need persons to be paying attention to that. Yeah, we could discount them, but nobody thought they would be here, and yet nobody thought they would be here, and yet here they are. And so maybe people ought to give them a little more consideration because it's really happening for COI. You might not want to agree with it, but that's the reality. And it feels good to see that there is more of a challenge coming up. All right. So it isn't just Michael Pintard. It is the COI with Hiram Lewis who are doing their thing. They actually, as a matter of fact, gave Hiram Lewis tabled the other day a bill for the government to establish a proper fire services separate and apart. And then next thing I know, I see the F&M promising that they can give 25 fire engine and 25 this and 25 that, but these are the things that the F&M could have done when they were in office in the past, and they did not do it. And I'm just saying this, and both the F&M and the PLP have played this game with us. But so it's going to be interesting to see how this works out because both of them have been doing this thing, and we've been playing seesaw with them all these years. Maybe it is time for a change. What do you think? But I'll tell you this. COI is proving that they're a force to reckon with. And I can say this. They will only get bigger and better if they hold their head. Once they stay focused on the mission and do what they got to do, the COI is going to get bigger and better. Some persons don't like me saying that, but it is what it is. They're going to get bigger and they're going to get better. And listen, they have a real chance at making a serious impact, a critical impact in this election. And when I say critical, I mean critical enough to literally win seats in the House of Assembly and become the official opposition. And listen, if things go the wrong way, they could end up becoming the government. You never know. I say the wrong way for the PLP and the F&M. Because people are frustrated. People are tired. People are tired of promises. People are tired of being lied to. People are tired of being manipulated. People are tired of being taken advantage of. People are tired of being abused. People are tired of the options that continue to play them for fools. And that's what the PLP and the F&M has done. They've continued to dance and bounce around and make promises and skip and dilly-dally and do all these things when in actuality people are tired of that. We need parties that are going to plan for 5 years, make decisions that are going to work out in 5 years, and actually do some stuff in 5 years. You understand what I'm saying? Don't plan for 10 years because the payment people ain't on that run. Plan for 5 and do what you, and there's a lot that can be done in 5. Because if these people are getting in the House of Assembly and doing a bunch of things for themselves in 5 years, so if you can do it for yourself in 5 years, you can do it for your country in 5 years. So don't play me like that. There are people are doing stuff for themselves, people are doing stuff for their businesses. So don't plan beyond 5 years. Plan for 5 years and show me you can get it done in 5 years. And if the people are satisfied with your 5 years, they'll give you 5 years more to do some more things. But we don't want nobody playing no games with us, man. You understand what I'm saying to you? And that's what has been happening on the left and on the right when it comes to the PLP and the FNM. Playing games, manipulating, lying, taking advantage of, making promises, being a failure, and still being re-elected because, as far as they're concerned, we're stupid. Both parties think we're stupid. Both parties think we have no sense. Both parties think we're not worthy of a second thought. You know, they want to get in office, and then when they get in office, that's it. When they get in office, to hell with the people who were concerned about them. To hell with the people who had their best interests at heart. To hell with the people who are struggling and believing in them and thinking that something's going to happen, even despite the fact that it didn't happen before. Both parties failed us when it came to this major hospital in South Eleuthera. We never got it. 25, 30 years and still can't get this hospital. They done dig ground 11 times. Clayton said the hospital finished and it ain't start yet. Well, it done start doing a couple. You understand? But they do that. He was able to put that on the poster because we are stupid. That's what he thinks. He's convinced himself that we are stupid. And if I put on a poster and say it's finished, even though it isn't started yet, they'll believe it's finished. You understand what I'm saying to you? And so, and the thing is, maybe they didn't even put it on the poster for us. Maybe they put it on the poster for the rest of the Bahamas so they can convince the rest of the Bahamas that they're doing things here. When in actuality, nothing is happening here. You understand? And so, yeah, COI is here. Change ain't coming, change is here. It is what it is. People might not like me saying that, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm not saying it because I have any horse in the race or that. I'm taking sides now with the PLP or the FNM or COI. I'm saying it because people are tired. The PLP have had their chance to fail us. The FNM has had their chance to fail us. And they have failed us miserably. You understand what I'm saying to you? And Eleuthera especially needs to look back and ask themselves, ask both of these parties, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me? What is it that I can look at and say, yes, this was done significantly and this was definitely out of unique, it was out of character, it was spectacular, definitely, it was far-reaching and it really affected us. And then I have a talk for Eleuthera. Now I didn't talk about COI, I want to talk to Eleuthera. Eleuthera, we got Cotton Bay coming on stream. We got Jack's Bay coming on stream. Disney is already here. We have all of the, well, Cape Eleuthera has been here, but Cape Eleuthera threw us under the bus. But I'm saying this, we got to talk now. We got to have this serious conversation. Eleuthera, I love you all. I love my people of Eleuthera. I love my Bahamian people. Eleuthera, we've lost a lot though. Venta Club, Club Med, and a couple other major properties because people steal too much. And so Eleuthera, as I close this broadcast, and I'm going to say to you, stop stealing and stop encouraging stealing. Leave people things alone. You don't know how to get it. You don't know how to wait for it. You don't touch it if it's not yours. If they ain't give it to you, if you ain't buy it, if you ain't spend your money for it, leave it a bloody well alone. You understand what I'm saying to you? Stealing caused Eleuthera to lose major projects in this on this island. And so it ain't always the government fault that you ain't got nothing. A lot of times it's your own fault when you can't keep your bloody well hands to yourself. And then you get vexed when they hire Haitians, but they hire Haitians because they feel like the Haitians ain't stealing from them. But mind you, the Haitians, some of them Haitians are thief now, I know, because they'll thief your life away. I'm not saying that is every Haitian or every Bahamian, but I'm saying to you, we know people are doing things, so stop stealing. Stop stealing. You're causing us to lose. You're causing your island to lose. You're causing your country to lose. You're causing your communities to lose when you steal. And then you're setting up your children to do wrong things. Because when your children see you stealing, they're going to do the exact same thing. Is that what you really want for your island, your country, and your community? Do you want to be just known as a nation of thieves? Because that's why some people don't want to come here, because they say, oh yes, Eleuthera is a beautiful place, but the people steal too much. You understand what I'm saying? People don't want to have this conversation. This is a harsh bit of conversation, but I need to have this conversation because I need people to stop doing foolishness. Let's show the world that we can be trusted and dependable. People work hard here. And just how you work hard for yours, they work hard for theirs. And just how one day you won't be able to invest yours, they won't be able to invest theirs comfortably without having to worry about people stealing from them. You understand what I'm saying to you? Let's get that together. Elutra, yeah, I know you all vex me for that, but who cares? Stop thief! It is what it is. I love you all. God bless. Good night. It's 11:25. See you all next week Saturday. All right. See you later.